Okay, guys, let's just put this on for my digital marketing website, COMMGiving.com. Can you make a pair of sneakers with uh, with my face on it? Anyways, um, and put it on the window of the store downtown. Okay, so here are home office networking tips for your home office, right? In your own home that I discovered. And I would say it is, let's say, 100% hack proof, unless you are being targeted by the NSA, the MI6, or the Mossad. I don't even think Islamic State can hack home Wi-Fi the way I've set it up, because they don't have the technical expertise. Okay, so let's begin. Um, when looking at your wireless router, I have a fairly old one from 2013, so it's pretty old. But it doesn't matter because the way I set it up, like I said, it's pretty much bulletproof. So here goes. All right. When you set the in your wireless Wi-Fi, you look at your transmission power, and if your home office is in a different room, for whatever reason, maybe your Wi-Fi is closer to some kind of like telephone socket or whatever, or however your house is laid out. Home office in a separate room, you want the transmission power to be high. If your Wi-Fi router is in the same room, you can tone it down to like medium, even low. It depends. If your Wi-Fi, your wireless router is sitting next to your computer, you can turn the transmission power to low. But then, unfortunately, maybe your kid can't use the Wi-Fi. So transmission power high is for the signal to travel to another room. And usually, how large a room, it doesn't matter. If you have a small room, then there's more interference because you got more stuff in it, right? You got more electronics in it. You got a large room, there's less interference, right, with the same stuff, but it's got to travel a greater distance. So if your Wi-Fi is same room, you can tone down the transmission power. If it's in a different room, um, you have to set it to high. And if you have multiple users in the house in various rooms, then most definitely set it to high. Should you use a long or short CI GI? I forgot what they call, but it's basically a data error check redundancy header. And and um and this is so funny, right? The My analogy is so funny because for military purposes, they always keep it long. And this is you want the short CI or the long CI. They call it the data check redundancy header. And for military purposes, they always keep it long because in a military network, right? Not everyone has a strong signal. So they say if you have a weak signal, you should make it long or not make it short. But it's got to be long or short across the entire network. So in a military setting, everybody has to have a long data redundancy check header because the signal can be weak in certain areas. But once you set it to long, everybody has to have a long data redundancy header, right? The problem with that is if you have a really strong signal, right, it does slow down the your it slows down your web browsing. You know, so if you have a strong signal in your home, you can set it to short, right, because it's only a home network, right, and everybody's gonna have like the same signal strength. But I'm saying in the real world, like in a battlefield, where the signal strength will vary for each unit, each battalion, you have to set to long for everybody. But if you set it to long in your home network, your surfing, your browsing is longer. Like takes it's slower actually because it checks for errors needlessly in the home, but in the battlefield, it's not needless. It's required. So in the home, set your data header to short. Or home office, home environment, set it to short, and your browsing will be a lot quicker. All right. But if there's anyone on the network with a weak signal that requires a long data header, then everybody sort of like has to suffer with a long data header. It ensures data integrity, but if you're sitting right next to the signal, you'll find it's actually slower for you. So that's a funny analogy, but it's actually pretty cool. And then SSID, everybody sets their SSID to a very like rational, like apartment 305, D-Link router, something so revealing, you know, Mr. Huang, Libra, something really stupid. So what you do is your SSID ought to be gobbledygook, like your password, and then you make it invisible. And then you put that on a text file on your computer, and then you bury the text file. How do you bury the text file? You name the text file after your cat or your favorite cousin. You name the text. Say you name your text file, with all the passwords for your router after your cat. Puss in Boots .text, and then you bury it inside your computer. And every time you need to look for it, you just search for it, and it'll pop up. All right. So that's where you can keep your secret information. All right. And your SSID has to be gobbledygook. It can't be like Mr. Smith, Libra, street number 501, and that's your SSID. All right. It's stupid SSID. Just make it gobbledygook, turn it invisible, and then keep the information on a text file named after your cat. Nobody would even know to look in there. All right. So SSID gobbledygook, right, and then make it invisible. Your password, administrative password to your wireless router, also gobbledygook. But then your wireless router doesn't just have the administrator login; it also has a user login. Also set that user login, to gobbledygook password. Because if you do not set a user password, they can log in as a user and see your settings perhaps. So set both an administrative password and a user password on your wireless router. And you can use the same password. To me that's not such a big issue. Because if they hack one, they can hack the other, right? And then moving on, your password key, which is your network access password. When you log in, you got to enter a security key. If it's 65 characters, mine can go up to 65 characters. If you use the whole 65 characters, your connection would be slower actually. Would be more spotty. So do not use the full 65 characters. You can use like 30 characters, and if that's the case, what the added feature of using a shorter key is that you can use symbols in addition to numbers and text. If you use the full 65 characters as your network pass key, you can only use what they call hex characters, which are like alphanumeric characters. But if you only use 30 characters, like half the length, then you can use symbols like dollar signs, hashtags, all that stuff. And it's more secure because they have to, when if they ever try to hack it, just running through numbers, there's more options, right? And they have to figure out. And then on top of that, one, they have to figure out the name of your SSID, which is all gobbledygook, right? And then they have to figure out your admin password, right? And then they also have to figure out your network passkey, right? And that's gobbledygook too. So all those three things are gobbledygook. But unfortunately, what I see, when you turn on your wireless Wi-Fi, you see other people's networks. They got names like, here I am, Hadi, in number 112. And they got like, my last name is, and my social security number is. That's the name of their SSID, right? And then it's like, one person, their SSID is like their locker combination. It's stupid SSID, right? Just make it gobbledygook as well, right? What else? We got SSID. Your driver's license registration number as your SSID. What else you got? SSID. Your grandma's like phone number or some stupid shit for SSID. And then and it's broadcast like half a mile radius. All right.